The Chamber president spills the tea on how New Jersey businesses are feeling these days. This is the Issues Watch podcast. Hi, I'm Jeff Kasserman, Vice President of Government Relations at the New Jersey Society of CPAs, and welcome to the Issues Watch podcast. In March, the New Jersey Chamber of Commerce held its annual Renew Jersey Business Summit in Atlantic City. More than 1,000 people attended, including yours truly and several members of our Emerging Leaders Council. The main objective of the summit was to discuss how to leverage the advantages of operating a business in New Jersey and also to explore actions to help make the state's business climate more competitive and more attractive. To facilitate the discussion, a powerhouse lineup of New Jersey executives and business owners, economists, and lawmakers participated in a series of panel discussions over a day and a half. Today, I'll be talking to longtime Chamber President Tom Bracken to recap the big items that came out of the summit. We'll also discuss the proposed 2.5% corporate transit fee. Welcome, Tom.
My pleasure, Jeff, as always, to do anything with the New Jersey CPA Society.
Well, thank you. So, Tom, what do you consider the three biggest takeaways from the summit?
The summit that we had in March was, first of all, I think one of the most outstanding events in my over 50-year career in New Jersey because of the quality of the panelists, the discussion, the quality of the attendees, the networking that took place, the overwhelming support for the state of New Jersey. It was just a phenomenal event in my estimation. And we keep hearing that over and over from other people. So we're very pleased with that outcome. As far as the three biggest takeaways, one would be that 900 people, and this is 900 of the senior people in New Jersey, came to celebrate the state of New Jersey. That shows enormous pride in the state, which is what we're trying to create. And that's takeaway number one, is that even though people realize this is a state that is expensive, and there are things in the way right now that we will probably get into on this podcast, people understand the value of being in New Jersey, the absolutely enormous demographics and assets and location we have that can be matched by no other state. So that was just an overwhelming reaction for me, and it reinforced what we were trying to do, which is create more enthusiasm for New Jersey, because if we're going to build the revenue in the business community, the people that are here have to really be the foundation for that. So the more we can get them to believe in how good this place is, the better chance we have of creating what we're trying to do, which is organic, sustainable, ongoing revenue to make up for our growing budgets and right now our growing deficits. So that's number two. Number three, I think, is the many people that talked about the enormous potential we have and the enthusiasm for trying to generate that potential. You know, we've always said that, like I said just earlier, demographics, assets, location, nobody can beat us. The potential is there to be what we should be, top 10, top 5 state in the country for business. We're not there. We're currently at 19, hopefully going to stay there and maybe improve upon that. But there's just a lot of people who would love to go higher. And the feeling of people who are, I think, hopefully going to dig in to get us higher was a very, very big takeaway for me. And lastly, I think the takeaway was that even though all that was positive, we did not shy away from talking about the roadblocks that are in front of us. I mean, the corporate transit fee, the bucket truck tax, the cuts in budgets to the EDA, the Business Action Center, and the SBDCs were not helpful to the business community. And in fact, the budget that was just presented is probably the worst business budget I've ever seen in New Jersey. And we didn't shy away from that. So even with that being said, we came away with people more on the positive side of the equation than the negative. And there's an opportunity to build on that, which we've already started to do.
You know, on the one hand, there's all this good stuff in New Jersey: location, demographics, workforce. And then on the other hand, as you just pointed out, there are these roadblocks. And it's a difficult balance to, on the one hand, sell the positives and yet still air the negatives. How do you do that balance? I mean, in my mind, I don't see how you could possibly not bring up the problems without, you know, and they'll never be addressed. Anyway, what are your thoughts on that?
It's all about honesty, and it's all about doing things the right way. And you're absolutely right. We, over the past years, have done a very bad job by talking about all the negatives in New Jersey, all the vitriolic comments people have made, the criticisms laid out there, the problems we have, and not focusing on the positives. That's exactly why 3 years ago, we decided to start our first business summit to turn that around and say, the problems are there. There's always going to be problems in every state, but there are things that other states don't have that we have to capitalize on. So you have to be honest about that and talk about the problems, but you also have to be enthusiastic that if we work together and get people at the table and work together with the legislature and the administration, we can get stuff done. And if we get stuff done and start the ball rolling that way, it can be a huge positive and turn what I think people would look at, which is the budget, which is a negative, and turn that into an opportunity. And let me tell you what I mean by that. The budget is going to be a challenge. If we can make some progress by maybe getting the corporate transit fee eliminated, maybe getting the bucket truck tax eliminated, maybe get funding for the EDA and the Business Action Center. If we can turn those things around, what an enormous signal that would be to helping us be considered a more business-friendly state. It's an opportunity. Adversity presents opportunity. And in that context, we have a lot of opportunity in New Jersey because we deal with a lot of adversity. But if we pull together and we believe in what we're doing, we can possibly take advantage of those opportunities. And all we need to do is to break the ice and get it going. And once people realize the positives in doing that, I hope it will snowball.
Right. So those are the obstacles, but we still have a lot of great things here. I guess it's hard to talk about one without seeming like we're contradicting the other. So in other words, let's keep working on all those, removing those obstacles, and at the same time,
you can't give up, Jeff.
Right.
The worst thing you can do in this state is give up. Once you give up and give in to the other side, who is, you know, being vitriolic and demonizing people and calling everybody names, once you give into that, it's all over. So
Right.
that's why we have fought that absolutely aggressively and said the right way to do this is with respectful dialogue. And if you were at the summit, which I think you were, you heard a lot of us talking about being respectful with the dialogue and the critical conversations that we're having. That's the way to do this. And we're continuing to promote that. We put out an op-ed recently that talked about that. And that's the way we will operate going forward.
So the issue that was front and center on everyone's mind was Governor Murphy's announcement in his February budget address that he was seeking to add a 2.5% corporate transit fee on companies that have 10 million or more in net profits. The previous corporate business tax surcharge just expired on December 31st, and this new fee would be retroactive to January 1st. So, in essence, it'll be as if it never expired. Many in the business community feel betrayed by him for breaking his often repeated promise that he was not going to do that. So what happened? Was this decision driven by politics, policy considerations? Is he going back to the left of center policies that were pretty evident in his first administration?
I think a little bit of everything you just said. Um, I wouldn't say, he betrayed anybody, and that's the kind of vitriolic language we want to avoid. He disappointed a lot of people. He disappointed us because we supported his staunch view on having the CBT surcharge expire. So we were very disappointed by what he did. I don't know the reasons why. I don't think he's articulated the reasons why, but there were many different factors involved, I'm sure, and not the least of which is what the intended use of this money is, which is to, quote, fix the financial dilemma facing New Jersey Transit. Now, let me tell you one other detail about this corporate transit fee that is a little bit disconcerting. It's going to kick in on January 1st, 2024. It does not, $1 of that does not go to New Jersey Transit until June 30 of 2025. So you have 18 months of money that's going to be generated. And by people's calculations, maybe over $1 billion in that 18 months that's going to go to the general treasury. So that's another question that has not been, the answer to which has not been articulated. Because if it was truly meant for New Jersey Transit, why not let it, at least one of the compromises, maybe why not let it kick in June 30th of 2025?
So, Tom, why should small and mid-sized businesses care about a fee that, at least at first blush, doesn't impact them? After all, it's a fee on about 600 big corporations with net income over 10 million.
The impact that these 600 companies have on New Jersey from the standpoint of employment, taxes generated by their employees, the contribution to the local economies where these companies are headquartered, the philanthropic giving that is, these 600 companies are probably the biggest philanthropic givers in the state of New Jersey. All that impacts every citizen in the state of New Jersey. So if this corporate transit fee causes those companies to reduce employment, move out of the state, not reinvest in some of their future projects in New Jersey, it's going to take away from the economic growth of the state, which will eventually impact every citizen because we'll have to find another way to get that growth. So nobody's immune from this. And the other thing I would tell you is a lot of these companies who are going to be impacted will probably pass on some of this cost in their pricing, which goes right back to the people who say they're not impacted. So nobody's going to get a free lunch here. But probably the biggest issue that impacts these companies is the reputational issue of New Jersey. Reputation, to me, is the number one asset of any person or any company that's in business. And if the reputation of this state is that we can't be relied upon to follow through on what we say we're going to do, that reputational issue is going to cause a lot of pain to attract and retain companies in the state of New Jersey. And again, that's going to have a big impact on not even just the small businesses, but every citizen in the state.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I don't know why so many lawmakers think of this as something that's only going to affect those 600 big corporations and they can afford it. Obviously, like you said, somewhere along the line, some of that gets passed along to consumers in
Oh,
higher
it will.
prices.
It will.
And obviously, it weakens all the other companies, thousands and thousands of companies that do work for or provide products and services to those big companies. They can't just be isolated and punished uh, by themselves without hurting other people. What do you think the chances are that the legislature will not go along with a corporate transit fee?
I sat in the assembly room when the governor gave his budget address, and it was about a 1 hour address. And about 50 plus minutes into it is when he proposed the corporate transit fee. Nobody on either side of the aisle stood up when he said that. Very few people on either side of the aisle clapped. So right there, you got, first of all, an impression that they were surprised, and they might not be fourscore behind this thing. Since that time, we've had a lot of conversations with leadership in both the Assembly and the Senate. I would tell you that there's a lot of concern about this. Just recently, it was made public in an article I read that our Assembly Budget Chair, Ileana Pinter-Marin, came out at a budget hearing about her concerns with this. So I don't think this is a slam dunk by any stretch of the imagination. Is there a chance it won't pass? Yes. But the other reason I would say that there's a real good chance, not a real good chance, but a good chance, is that my organization and many other organizations are starting campaigns that are very aggressive with the legislature to talk about the harm this would do. We have my company as an example. We put out a very harsh statement after the budget address criticizing this. We followed that up with an op-ed about a week later. Since that time, we've had two other op-eds on this. We have an organization called the Chamber Alliance, which is an organization that meets every Friday at 11 by Zoom, which is all the major regional and local chambers of commerce. We meet with them by Zoom to talk about issues going on in the state. Probably within 2 weeks, we'll be sending a letter to the legislature signed by every one of those Chamber of Commerces. And they cover the entire state of New Jersey, and their cumulative membership probably covers 80 to 85% of all the companies in our state. So we are continuing to fight this. We're continuing to talk about this in a very respectful way, but continuing to highlight the damage this will do. So if you add all that up, this is a very toxic topic, and it'll be very interesting to see, with all that I just said, how this plays out. So that's why I said I don't think it's a slam dunk. I don't think it's not going to get past it, but it's getting a lot more attention on the negative side than many other issues like this that have been presented in budgets have gotten in the past.
I think the grassroots that you're talking about is going to be critical to any effort to stop it. If they don't hear from, all the various, what is it, hundreds of chambers and people too, then that's what makes them hesitate, when they know people are paying attention.
And one other thing we're doing, Jeff, there are 30 new members in the legislature after the last election. They just took office. We are meeting with them one-on-one. We've met with probably, I don't know, between a quarter and a third of them already. And in every one of the discussions, we're bringing this up with all the detail I talked to you about. So we're trying to educate them individually as new members of the Assembly or the Senate on why we should not do this. And Democrats and Republicans, we have not had one person yet kind of poo-poo this. They've all been very interested to hear what we had to say.
That's great, Tom. I want to thank you again for joining us today, and I'm sure we will have you back on in the future. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Appreciate the offer, Jeff. And it's always good being part, as I said, with the anything to do with the New Jersey CPA Society.
Well, thanks for listening and watching. For more news and resources on the New Jersey budget, visit njcpa.org/NJBudget. And to learn more about the New Jersey Chamber of Commerce, visit njchamber.com.